Now, in my last video, I shared with you some key strategies that you can employ to optimize your resume. What comes next is how to write a compelling cover letter that will get you past the application stage so that you are invited for an interview. Whereas there are no rules set in stone when it comes to writing cover letters, we all know that a bad cover letter will not get you past the application stage. However, if you're able to write a very compelling cover letter, you are able to evoke emotional responses in your recruiter, who will then invite you for an interview. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 key strategies that you can use when it comes to writing a cover letter that will help you grab the attention of the recruiter and ultimately get you an interview. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. Hit the like button and also share it with your friends and community. Do not forget to comment in the comment section. Let me know how you're using this content to improve your life and also land an awesome job. The most important paragraph in your cover letter is the first paragraph. It can make or break your hiring prospect with that organization that you're applying to. But if you're able to pitch this sentence right, the recruiter will be more eager to read the ensuing paragraphs to find out if you're a good candidate for the job. Now, I know the usual approach is to introduce yourself and also state where you're coming from and what experiences you've gathered over the years, as well as the specific jobs that you are applying for. Now, this approach is counterproductive because the recruiter, one, may already know your name, may be able to tell your experience and where you've been working or where you are working now from your resume, and as well be able to know the position you're applying for, because guess what? They posted a job in the first place. So you want to skip all this and go straight to the point and be able to get the attention of recruiters from the get-go. You want to sound original and also show the recruiter that at least you did some research into the job or the position and the organization before even applying in the first place. And the way you do that is to use the first paragraph to your advantage. Let's take this cover letter for example. In the introduction, I wrote something like this: instructional designers are usually confused with tech support. Whereas IDs may tend to provide tech support from time to time, the real impact of the position is felt in the area of teaching and learning. With West Virginia University's commitment to research and excellence, an ID's role is to support faculty in designing interactive learning objects for different learning environment that is synchronous and asynchronous, and ultimately provide students with an experiential learning experience. Now, in this first statement, what I did was to provide the recruiter with a startling statement and then refute it with my own personal perception and understanding of what is required of the position. And I followed this with also a research about the institution. Now, I use that to my advantage also here, to be able to point to the recruiter that I know the standing of the institution and how the role of an instructional designer feeds into that. Now, I understand it is much difficult to be able to come up with something like that. And so here are 2 tips that you can use to be able to gather enough information to be able to write the first paragraph and write it well. Reach out to at least 3 professionals in the field and ask them questions that will lead you to be able to gather information that will help you write this paragraph. In this informational session, you want to skip past the usual questions that you ask people. Tell me about your day-to-day activities. You want to really go in depth and be able to draw much information from the person. A good question to ask is, what do you find rewarding about your position? Or can you tell me about a persistent challenge in your role and how you have been able to solve it over the period that you've been working at that institution? Those are insights that can inform you to write that first paragraph adequately and be able to grab the attention of your recruiters. Now, when it comes to the fact that you do not have anybody to reach out to that is in the field, one place that you can look for professionals in your role is LinkedIn. Connect to people that are in your role and be frank from the get-go and tell them that you are interested in the role and you really want to be able to gather as much as information as you need to be able to make an informed decision. 9 out of 10, when they feel that you are genuine and you are very open, they are able to reach back and give you the information that you need. Research about the institution and also the experiences people have had working in that particular organization. One area that you can find this information is Glassdoor. It's a very great resource not only for job postings but also for you to be able to assess people's experience in working in certain organizations to inform writing your first paragraph. Now remember, your goal is to keep this first paragraph as precise and as short as possible. Now that you have the attention of recruiters, you want to quickly show them that 1, you are qualified for the job, 2, you have the personality that they are looking for, and 3, you have the energy to be able to do the job and do it well. So in your second paragraph, you do not want to list 100 things that you've been able to do or accomplish in the previous years or in your current role, but you want to carefully tailor the experiences that you have to the specific job. Here, I will select 1 task that I've been able to do that stands out when it comes to that position and be able to present it to the recruiter. I'll put it in 2 paragraphs. The second paragraph highlighting overall what I am experienced in, and then the third paragraph go into specific. I'll write something like this in my second paragraph. I have gained more than 5 years of experience in engaging and supporting faculty in designing learning objectives for in-person and blended courses, and also troubleshooting Blackboard and Canvas. As a Quality Matters certified course builder, I ensure the courses I build follow sound pedagogical foundation for effective learning. With this, I zoom in into the third paragraph where I write, before the end of 2020, Adobe announced that it will be suspending support for Flash. This meant that most of our courses which were Flash supported needed to be recreated. As an instructional designer and technologist at Ohio University at the time, I collaborated with an ID and IT and quickly created a plan to redevelop most of the courses. I took lead in documenting the processes for our supervisors, and each member was given a quota of courses to create. Within 3 weeks, using Articulate Storyline, Rise, Adobe Captivate, we were able to recreate more than 100 courses, which represented about 70% of all courses that needed to be created. This single initiative saved the department more than $100,000, which would have been used to pay external vendors. I was able to point the recruiter to a challenge that I faced in a similar role and the strategies that I came up in solving those challenges. I've been able to show the recruiter that I have leadership qualities, I pay attention to details, and I'm able to work under various working conditions. In addition, I've been able to point to the recruiter that I have the instinct for teamwork and collaboration. Now, if metrics are important to the recruiter, I have some numbers to prove that. Now, if you recently graduated and you are wondering how to capture this, I would advise that you go back to the time that you were in school. If you ever did a project that was fascinating and was very interesting to you that you can relate to the job, use that and be able to present it in a way that would showcase that even though you do not have the necessary experience, that you are ready to learn. The final paragraph is more generic, and here you want to thank the recruiter for reviewing your application, and you want to sound more optimistic that you anticipate to hear from them soon. Remember not to state your phone number or email in this paragraph. If you're able to format your cover letters well, the recruiter will have access to your phone number and email, and this will be an information that is already stated on your resume. You want to use a design or template that is clean. You want the white spaces in your cover letter to be proportional to the dark spaces. Now, if you compare a densely worded document to a very neatly formatted document, you will realize that the densely document, which has less white spaces, is very difficult to read and not enthusiastic. Whereas the document with enough white spaces is more inviting and more entertaining to read. It sometimes shows more about your candidature and your personality than you would think. So as you can see in this cover letter, I do have enough white spaces that is balancing out the text of the page. Now, if you want to add a little bit of aesthetics, that is allowed, but that's about it. No excessive coloring designs here. You just want to stay as clean and as crisp as possible. Here are a few power tips for you. Limit your cover page to at least 1 page. In very few situations where you are required to say more, do not go over 2 pages. Never use generic salutations in your cover letter such as Madam or Sir. Most recent job listing will list the hiring manager or the contact person for the hiring committee. It is okay to address your cover letter to that person. If the job doesn't list such persons, you can go with a more professional salutations such as Dear Hiring Manager, Dear Search Committee, or simply Dear Recruiter. Check your cover letters for typos and errors. Use a spell check. It will be very strange to state that you paid attention to details and there are minor errors in your cover letter. As such, it is very very important to reread your cover letter and be able to catch errors. Some strategies that I use is that I will close the Word document for a few hours and revisit it later on. When I revisit it, I have fresh mind, fresh eyes, and I'm able to reread it and catch some errors. In addition, you could also read out loud to yourself. You'll be amazed what your ears will hear you speak, and that will draw your attention to the errors. My personal recommendation is to send your cover letter to a second party. Have this person reread it and correct typos and errors that they find fit, and also to measure the likability of your cover letter. If they come back and tell you that they didn't like the cover letter, I will encourage you to revamp it before sending it out. And that's it for today. Out of the abundance of love that I have for you, I am attaching a sample of the cover letter that I've discussed in this video in the description below. You are welcome to change it and use it and thank me later. For now, I will appreciate it if you subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, comment, and share with your friends and community. Remember to stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, keep landing awesome jobs.